Live from the Export Beer Garden studio, this is the Agenda Podcast for the 7th of April 2025.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Deary me, a lot to get through today. Manaia, happy Monday first of all, mate. The Blues have kept their Super Rugby Pacific season alive with a clutch result over the Canes in what was quite an interesting round of rugby union. Have we seen the last of the Penrith Panthers dynasty? And who will be next in line? We have a new great one after Wayne Gretzky's goal record of 894 has been overtaken. Posing the question, do statistics determine the greatest of all time, or is it more of a BDE thing? And deary me, does the 2024-25 cricket season need to be taken out the back and shot in the head? But first, how was your weekend, bro?
Yeah, good, mate. One of my all-time favourite questions. I love coming into work on a Monday and just having some random wounder from the office that you never talk to sidle up next to you in the kitchenette and be like, how was your weekend? And you're supposed to try and find a jumping off point with them. Like, yeah, good. Went because the biggest thing about it, it's particularly when I was working at the ACC full-time, we sit over with like, and where you sit now, ZM, the hits.
Oh, yeah.
And like random people. And so they'll come up to you and they'll be like, how's your weekend, mate? And you want to be like, oh, I blacked out at about 10 o'clock, sort of came back online at about 11, full night, all-night bender till about Saturday. That put the kibosh on any plans the missus had around going to brunch. I didn't get the lawns mowed, and then
Feeling like shit, hate my life.
Sunday scaries were pretty tough last night, but I put the noose away and here we are. And and you've got to try and like tell Karen from accounts how your actual weekend was. You're like, I don't know you, I'm not going to take the mask off.
And then if you try and give the highlights, you can see the eyes glaze over within about 5 minutes.
And at the age I'm getting to now, Mash, it's becoming, you may not have seen this scene from and I'm forgetting the name, the Will Ferrell movie where he goes back to college, and they're like, how's your weekend, or what do you got planned? He's like, I actually got a nice wee weekend. We're going down to Bunnings tomorrow. Take the missus out for lunch.
Yeah, we're heading Plant Barn.
Get a couple of things done around the house. It's starting to become a little bit that way.
Yeah.
Me, but
I mean, well, you've painted a fence about it a couple of months ago, and then, I mean, this is how that
dining
goes.
out on that ever since.
Anyway, let's start with this. Some news in the NHL. Geez, you know Joe Jury's come up with a run sheet for today's show, if we're leading with this, but here we go.
Into his own zone there. But no, look, he's just trying to find a seam and know that, hey, I'm going to try to force it to him if he's open. Here is Ovechkin. Shoots! He scores! He scores! Number 895!
Huge. Alex Ovechkin, at 39 years old, scored his 895th goal, beating Wayne Gretzky's record of 894, which many believe to be unbeatable. But no, he did it in, this is fascinating, 1,487 games, which is the exact same time as it took Gretzky. Great one.
Shit.
Yeah.
This obviously always brings into consideration who is the greatest of all time. You know, does that mean he's the GOAT because he scored more goals?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a vibe thing, eh?
It is a vibe thing, and I also feel like it's never gonna. Those guys are never gonna be toppled. I would put Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Depending on where you stand on Mike Tyson, those kind of guys, they'll never be toppled because people aren't as famous as they were in the 90s. Back in the 90s. Like Michael Jackson was fucking enormous.
Yep.
And Drake sold more albums than him, but no one will ever consider him to be better than Michael Jackson.
Aye. This plays into my theory that we will never see another greatest of all time. The greatest of all time's already been for everything. I don't think that there's a chance that anyone's going to be able to beat the greatest of all time in any sport that's left. I think we've seen it all. Schumacher, done, loaded. You know, so many sports now locked in. I totally agree.
Yeah. Who would be Jonah, probably the rugby GOAT.
Yep.
I don't think,
who else? DC? No.
Yeah, DC, Richie, you could throw all these guys in there, but you're right. I think that Shane Warne and the common denominator with all of these dudes.
But again, it's a fucking vibe thing, eh?
It's a vibe thing, but it's also the 90s. Dudes have never been more famous than they were in the 90s. Michael Jackson shows up in the 90s and people would lose their fucking minds.
Facts.
You know, to a degree, LeBron, the same thing would happen. I think what we're going to see, though, and it's going to create more of these debates, is that athletes are playing for way longer. So LeBron's 40 now, and he's still doing the damn thing. Last year, he overtook Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the highest point scorer in NBA history. Kareem played into his 40s as well.
Does that help, do you think?
Help
the longevity?
Yes.
Having a long career helps.
but only for the counting stats.
Yes, true that.
You know what I mean? So these guys are playing for longer. So yeah, they're gonna obliterate some of the records, particularly when you're playing a different style of the sport as well. You know, like the game ebbs and flows. There's some periods where they're scoring heaps, particularly in basketball, where they're scoring fucking 150 points a game. And there's other periods when they only score 80. So the longevity definitely will help with those counting stats in terms of who scored more, maybe even who won more titles. But the GOAT debate always comes down to the vibe, like you said. And like I said, no one's going to top those 90s teams. But it makes you think of LeBron overtaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Makes you think of TJ Perenara overtaking Israel Folau in Super Rugby. You know, these are the kinds of
big numbers that you got to think about, yeah.
Does that make TJ Perenara the GOAT of Super Rugby, or do you still think Israel Folau is? You personally, Mashi.
Do it for the whānau. All right, after the break, let's come back and talk a little bit of Formula One. Jeez, what a weekend it was. All right, Liam Lawson finishes 17th in Japan. Unfortunately, Yuki Tsunoda finished 12th. Max Verstappen was the overall winner. Lando Norris, my favourite, coming in second. Whatever, not the point. Manaia, as a hardcore Warriors fan, you would have come across a fair few bandwagon fans in your time. Do you think this will cause the bandwagon motorsport fans to jump ship?
If the Pinot Noirs are anything to go by, yes, 100%. I have not seen anyone drinking a red wine while watching the Warriors in over a year and a half now.
Yep.
It went exactly how I thought it was going to. And the reason why I saw you guys talking last week about the bandwagon fans and, you know, whether motorsports enthusiasts will welcome the bandwagon fans or not.
Yeah.
Motorsport's a weird one because there's sort of two levels of bandwagoner. There's the Drive to Survive bandwagoner.
Which must be I think it must hurt.
Definitely. And
I think that's got to hurt as an OG fan, seeing those types of bandwagoners.
Yes.
That is a different, special type of bandwagoner.
And I think the thing, well, at least for the WARS fans who got angry at the bandwagoners, at the Pinot Noirs and stuff 2 years ago when we had that great season, it's because for minnow sports, which, to be honest, rugby league had been for a long time.
Yeah.
Motorsports particularly is. And for a motorsports enthusiast, you've suffered through no one giving a shit about your sport your entire fucking life, but it's just because you love tinkering with cars, you love motorsport, you love the smell, you love the sound, you love all that stuff, but it never got you laid.
How many Sunday barbecues have you been pushing that shit up that hill for?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see the motorsport on Friday?
Exactly.
No, you didn't. And let me try and explain it to you.
Sorry, if you don't mind, I'm just going to duck in and check the latest in the V8 supercars. Haven't they been driving for 4 hours? Yeah, and they got another 4 to go, but I need to see where everyone's sitting. And you've gone through all of the pain of that, being bullied by people who are into, let's be honest, rugby, and to a lesser degree, cricket. And then all of a sudden, now that it's cool, and there's a Kiwi in there, and there's been a Netflix doco, now all of a sudden they get to swan in when it's cool. And it's like, no, but you were taking the piss out of me my entire life. I've been in the trenches of this shit, you know? I was a virgin into my 30s.
It's closer to a fashion trend than it is to a sporting bandwagon trend, I think, at this point. I think there's been people out there that have been running the silk Daffy Duck boxer shorts over top of the jeans for the last 20 years, waiting for them to come back. And now in 2025, they're excited again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's like, I paid in blood, sweat, and tears. And I don't love it because people are always like, oh, but isn't it the more the merrier? Like, not really.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand how is it the more the merrier. The only person I've heard say that is the CEO of the Warriors. And I was like, yes, more the merrier for you because you get paid more.
That's
true. Me as a fan, it actually dilutes our fandom.
See, that's interesting because I think last week I was banning around the phrase more the merrier. But maybe you're right. Maybe that is the case.
More the merrier for the sport, for sure. But you as a fan, it never feels like more the merrier. You know, I understand the sport's better off for it. Sellouts for all the Warriors games are great. Another example I would give is when Luke Combs came to New Zealand, not this most recent time, but the time before that. It sold out in a heartbeat, and the proper hillbillies who actually wanted to go to that gig, they were too busy out on the farm to buy tickets, so they didn't get to go. And the only people who got to go was the Queen Street Cowboys and their R.M. Williams belts and fucking boots that have never walloped a dog in their life. They had the time to buy the tickets and go to the gig. And, you know, if you're actually into that stuff, you got hard done by there. So that's how Warriors fans felt a couple of years ago. It's probably how motorsports fans are feeling right now. Go and retweet that.
The Queen Street Cowboys. Interesting weekend in the Formula One. Interesting weekend because I feel like there's a chance that our sights have shifted to perhaps the wrong place. Of course, we've been so focused on this Tsunoda Lawson situation.
Can I just say, I didn't know I thought he got kicked out of Formula One. I didn't know he just got kicked to another team still in Formula One.
Oh, Lawson.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, no. So, well, owned by the... Yeah, very confusing, but Red Bull's second team.
Yeah, but he's...
Lesser team.
But he's still in Formula One, right?
That's right.
Well, fucking, what's everyone complaining about?
Interesting. Yeah.
What I don't understand, you might be able to explain this to me. Why do they race in teams?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are there two of them?
It's not a sport for a team.
It's not like they're fucking Talladega Nights shake and baking where one guy gets to slingshot the other one. They don't do that shit. So why all of a sudden do you give Liam Lawson a handicap by making him drive the same car as Max Verstappen? Why is that a rule? I've not been able to wrap my head around that.
No, and I don't think there is really a reason for it other than
he raced,
you'll never guess money.
Yeah. So he raced on the same track, essentially for the same team, both Red Bull.
Yes. Worse car, apparently.
Oh, yeah, worse car. And he finished worse. But still, he's fucking Formula One driver.
Interesting, though, his teammate, forgive the pronunciation on this one, Hadja.
Oh, yeah.
Came in at number 8, which is a bit of an issue, I think, for Lawson. Lawson finishing 17th, a bit of a pit stop tactic not going his way, I think. Probably, maybe not his tactic, but...
I saw he come out on the softies.
Yeah, that's right. I don't quite understand how it works. I think he was relying on some kind of rain coming or perhaps some kind of safety car. Didn't come, so he ended up 17th with his teammate in 8th, not making him look super great, but oh well, that's neither here nor there, I suppose. So,
how many dudes are on the grid? How many dudes start a race?
20.
Oh, okay, so yeah,
and all 20 finished yesterday.
That's pretty good. But also, like, you got a dude who got called up for 2 hoons, then got binned.
Yeah.
Now he's back in a brand new car.
Yeah.
You know, you can't expect. Also, fucking, there's only 16 dudes quicker than him in a car on Earth.
What I'm trying to figure out is why we're not excited about the fact that he got 2 hoons.
Yeah, exactly.
We're more focused on the non-hoons than the hoons. If you get 2 hoons, I think that's exciting.
Yeah, fucking A.
You gotta be happy with that.
This is classic Kiwis, and I said this when he got picked for Formula One, and I said it when remember that 15-year-old broke like the world record for the mile or whatever?
Yeah.
I was like, we as Kiwis, this is the problem. He now has to become the greatest middle distance runner of all time, or we will consider him to be a failure.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what it is about us. We simultaneously think we can't achieve anything because we're little old New Zealand. Then anytime we do, we're like, well, if you're not the fucking greatest to ever do it, then you're shit.
That's right.
And it's happening to Liam Lawson right now. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I won't claim to understand motor games.
No, that's the extent of my knowledge on the weekend. All wrapped up as well. Moving on to cricket now. Bat and a ball. The autumn of cricket is finally over. Black Caps sweep Pakistan. Everyone basically said fuck it with the last game. Yeah. The groundsman may not have put the covers on properly, so there was an hour and 45-minute delay. Is that right? Yeah. I wasn't really watching the game. I was working Auckland FC at the time. Walk me through that.
So you know how at the ground they've got basically the pitch you're playing on, and there's a pitch either side. There's like 3 or 4 pitches, and they rotate through them throughout the months, I presume. Anywho, they didn't put the cover on one of those, and it rained randomly, and then all of a sudden it was too waterlogged for them to play. It wasn't the pitch they were playing on. It was
they covered the wrong pitch.
Maybe. No, I don't think it was they covered the wrong pitch. They just left part of it to where it got fucking soaked.
Right. Okay.
And they were out there with blow dryers and shit. It was an hour and a half. The thing is, cricket, and I love cricket. And I think everyone that loves cricket understands why people don't.
Yeah.
Because you would not accept an hour and a half delay to the start of a game for any other sport on God's green earth. You would not accept it for rugby. You wouldn't accept it for league. You wouldn't accept it for fucking Formula One. Although there was an oil slick last year in Las Vegas that delayed Formula One. Anywho, if cricket did not exist, we probably would not invent it. Certainly if we did invent it, there'd be a lot of things that weren't in there. The first one would be, we wouldn't have anything that could result in an hour and a half delay to the start of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is a massive flaw in this game we're inventing. You're telling me, first of all, it's going to take my whole fucking day. Second of all, it might not start when
I feel like cricket's got a lot of issues that could be fixed with about 25 people, but since we've only got about 4 ground staff per facility, it takes us ages. I think about this every time it rains in general, and you've got those 2 lawnmowers that hoon around with just this
boundary rope between them.
With their boundary rope between them, just grazing off some surface water.
Right,
I can't help but think to myself, 25 people will be able to get this thing dry in about 30 minutes.
Fucking hell, just giving it a... I think there was that footage that went viral last year about a cricket ground in India where they brought out like a pedestal fan and plugged into an extension cord. It's like, fuck, is that what we're doing here, fellas?
That is what we're doing. But moment of the night, you'd have to say, was this when the lights went out.
Don't you?
Oh my goodness.
They could not have cut out the worst time.
Goodness. He is just about to release the delivery.
Why would he let it go?
He is steaming in. It's likely a short ball. And the lights have gone. Holy heck.
You know, that's terrifying, that.
Well, that was a flow-on effect of the game having to start late because it was supposed to finish at like 6, and so they went late and they had to turn the lights on, and then obviously they weren't prepared for turning the lights on, which I don't know why. I was saying this morning on the iHeartradio breakfast show, 6 to 9 weekdays, that you like where was that, Bay Oval?
Yeah.
They are hosting a Black Caps game, 4 times over the summer?
Sure.
So for the rest of the 361 days of the year, those lights are off. You couldn't get it right one fucking day, you know what I mean?
It's school project stuff. I was thinking about it. I feel like someone from the club room has gone to, I don't know, Paulie, who's a bit of a clubby around there, and then they've said, hey, mate, can you turn the lights off at the end of the night? And he goes, boys, I'm not staying past fucking 7 o'clock. I am not staying past 7 o'clock. Whatever happens, I can turn the lights off, but just so you know, I'm home in bed by 7:30.
I'm walking out of here at 7,
And he was like, looking at his time, and you know what? Look, I'm the only one here that can turn these lights off, so I will be turning these lights off.
Yeah, and from 6:30 to 7, his little offside will be like, oh, surely we could just stick around for it. No, I fucking told them, and I'm sick of them. They're always asking me to work overtime. Do I get paid extra? No. So I'm out of here.
It took me back to rugby training when I was about 14, 15.
Yeah.
The lights would always turn off halfway through training, and you'd
on
be
a timer,
fucking freezing, and your knees would be cut up, and it all, that's what it reminded me of.
Can't see shit.
So that was the summer of cricket. I was going to walk you through the results that have been. I haven't found them, so I can't be asked. I can't remember all of them, but
going to give it a C. A C.
So it's a pass rate?
It's a pass rate. It happened. And there were highlights. I think the English tests were good. The donut in the middle. Yeah, we made the final of the Champions Trophy. Just our summer of cricket was just a bit of a debacle.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
And this Pakistani, no one wanted this Pakistani tour.
Did we have Sri Lanka over the New Year's?
Yes, we did. Yeah,
and that I couldn't even tell you what already happened.
That was okay. I enjoyed watching those games because Sri Lanka are a real Dr. Zeus of a team. They've got all manner of fucking leg spinners and paces with indoor cricket run-ups and all that kind of stuff.
It is indoor cricket, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Watching Sri Lanka play cricket is watching indoor cricket.
Yes, yeah, exactly it is. They had a parade of dudes that looked like Malinga.
Yeah.
And they actually had one of Malinga's actual nephews, and he was the only pace bowler in the team who didn't bowl like Malinga.
Yeah.
And his name was fucking Malinga.
Whoever's the bowling coaching staff in Sri Lanka are great.
It's Dr. Zeus. Never
for a second have they thought, you know what? Let's tighten up the technique. Let's get that high and I'm straight. Pull the chain down, fellas.
Yeah, no one's pulling the chain.
Do whatever you got to do.
No chains. That's
okay,
an economic issue.
Let's take a break and we'll come back with some Super Rugby. By the looks of things, yeah, why not? Okay, Super Rugby over the weekend. Manaia, the Chiefs beat the Reds to go back to the top of the table.
Yeah, the Reds have my new favourite coach in Super Rugby. We've given him a new nickname. We're calling him the search term. Are you familiar with the Reds coach?
No.
Les Kiss.
Yeah.
Les Kiss. There's rumours swirling that he's going to be the new coach of the Wallabies, which would mean the start of next season the Reds would have to find a fill-in coach. How do you replace the search term, you know?
How are you spelling Les Kiss?
Just how you'd think.
Oh, you are spelling it just how you'd think.
And by the way, when you Google him, I just did in incognito mode, his name is just Les Kiss. It's not Leslie.
No, it ain't.
He doesn't have a middle name. His name is just fucking Les Kiss. Shout out to Les Kiss worldwide.
What a weapon with a goatee. Jeez, he's got it all going as well.
So we've taken to calling him the search term, and the search term is potentially being replaced.
Oh, look at him here. Jesus.
Next week, yeah.
Okay, Les Kiss, there you go.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to the biggest or most important game of the round very shortly. A couple of quick ones. Crusaders got the monkey off their back in winning over in Fiji. You're from Canterbury, I'm from Canterbury as well. Cantabs love nothing more than fucking off to Fiji for a week in the middle of winter.
Well, this is what I was nervous about this game, and a lot of people came to me and said to me, they said, Mashi, not many people came to me and said this, but I think the Crusaders should be concerned about going over there to Fiji.
Yep.
And then I said exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
As mate, Cantabs and Fiji, we got something going.
Fucking yeah.
You send us to, we'll do some damage in Fiji over the winter period.
Generally, it's just crushing insane amounts of piss in a swim-up bar while your kids are off with the Fijian women on the beach somewhere.
It's not usually 80 minutes of high-intensity sport.
No, but they did get up and they needed to. Unfortunately for the Fijian Ndrua, the Crusaders were stinging after that loss to Manaia Pacific the week before. So I think that was a scheduling loss for the Fijian Ndrua. So it's just good to maintain. Because if they lost that one, everyone would be like, fuck, the Crusaders put a fork in them.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Manaia Pacifica this season, obviously they've made some great signings. Adi Savia, Peter Pettigrew, the first five as well is pretty good. But I think the biggest thing that they've started doing this year, and this is something the Crusaders did for a long time, so I'm going to take a lot of credit for this, but they play the game the way the rules are telling you to play it. I think a lot of teams are like, this is how we play and this is our style of footy and we just do this. For the longest time, the Crusaders are like, the rules favour a fucking boring, win ugly brand of football. We'll do that.
Let's kick the footy.
Kick the footy, fucking one-off runners. It was real tough to watch, turgid affair every single time, and they won. Last year, the Blues won by a bullocking forward pack that no one could contain, and then razzle-dazzle off the back of that. This year, the scores are averaging in the 40s. So it's run from fucking everywhere. I'm going to score 40 points. If you want to beat me, you got to score 41. And that's basically how Manaia Pacifica are playing. And that's why all of these games that look like upsets, they're not. These are just the first guys who have cottoned on to the rule changes and how Super Rugby is supposed to be played this year. And so it's not, it's just that they are playing how the game is meant to be played right now under this rule set.
Sure.
I mean, sucked in Blues because lumbering forward packs are so out this year.
Well, let's talk Blues then. They keep their season alive. After what was quite a strange game against the Canes. 1 point in it, they got the job done.
Yeah, off the back of a strong forward pack performance, and I thought that if they're going to win, it's going to be off the back of a dominant forward pack this year. And I talked to Lane this morning, and we were saying, because all last month we've been saying put a fork in the Blues.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, fuck, actually, do we need to take the fork out and chuck them back on the barbie? Like, the juice is quite running clear yet? And Lane said, no, there's still a bit of blood around the bone at the moment for the Blues. They may not be done yet.
Who do they got next week? I couldn't even tell you.
I can tell you in a second.
Blues Rugby.
But I will say that they're not far away. Like, if you look at the team, obviously they won last year. Would it shock you to find out at the end of the season that they snuck into the playoffs and are the team no one wants to run into?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't one bit.
You know what I mean? They've got all of the dudes. They have been ravaged by injuries. It's funny that
the injuries are an issue.
When the teams needed it the most, they've eventually relented and gone, fuck it, Bodie, you're our first five, go. How often do we see this? Fucking Razor had to do it over the last All Blacks season. He's like,
all right, okay.
Yeah, fuck, right, yes, he's our best first five, all right, fuck off. It just shows the class of the bloke.
Manaia Pacifica next week and then Crusaders the following week.
That's a banana peel for them.
Tough couple of games, actually.
That is going to be really, really tough. Battle of the Bridge. It is the North Shore, North Harbour, Manaia Pacifica versus the empty Eden Park of the Blues. I think if they lose that, put a fork in them.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest, I think they do lose that too.
I think they lose the next two games.
Yeah.
I want that on record now. Manaia Pacifica obviously beating the Waratahs, was it?
Yeah.
I think so. And then, again, we've touched on it, but the Crusaders beat the Drua. I think that sums up that round of footy. Yeah. Weird round of footy, but, all done and dusted. Let's move on now to NRL. The Warriors were unbeaten this week.
Yeah.
Just taking home another 2 points.
And for the first time in a few years now, we haven't as fans been subjected to the Warriors might not even get the 2 points in the bye joke that always goes around for the Warriors.
Oh, that's good gear, though.
Flaming hot take that I'm going to pass off as my own when, in fact, I actually got sent this from the Notorious Pants Man out of Australia.
Oh, great.
He said, because the big story this week is the head-high crackdown.
Yeah.
They signposted it last week. They said, if there's any incidental contact with the head, the player's going to be binned straight away. Because last week there were a few games determined by players not being binned. Now, all of a sudden, all the games have been determined by players being binned.
Yeah.
Every podcast, every show is going to be talking about the head-high crackdown. And my take, which I stole off Joel Harrison, is, shit, this was a good week for the Warriors to have a bye. Because can you fucking imagine us coming in this morning after getting robbed of a win by a head-high tackle? You know what I mean? We would have been insufferable this week.
We would have conceded about 16 penalties just due to some high contact.
Yeah, and we would have been like, fucking hell, God.
This is not our
refs
season.
are against the Warriors, blah, blah, blah. So, on the one hand, should the Warriors, who represent an entirely different nation than the rest of the competition, have been included in multicultural round? Probably. Would we trade that off for not having to be part of the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards coming out of the pocket every second minute head-high crackdown? Yeah, I think we would happily trade that in. So we take the 2 points. I think they'll crack down on the crackdown next week and we won't see as many send-offs. Unfortunately, we've got the Melbourne Storm next week, so that's going to be a fucking tough game. After what they did last night to the Manly Sea Eagles, they're going to be very, very tough.
Friday night, interesting fixture. Cowboys beating the Panthers 22 points to 18. The question that is being asked over the weekend is this the end of the Penrith Panthers? And finally, can we move on to another team? And by other team, I mean probably what? Just the Melbourne Storm?
Conspiracy Theory texted through to the Hodaki Breakfast Show 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays on Radio Hodaki. Text frequency to 3 something for the something.
North or South, I think.
Hey, North or South, is it?
Yeah, and then you get your frequency for your North Island or South Island,
Conspiracy Theory that was texted through to that broadcast. Are Netflix following the Panthers around this season? And are the Panthers intentionally tanking their way to the bottom of the ladder for a redemption arc that would make the ratings go through the roof?
Similar allegations made about the Crusaders last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no signs of docos yet.
Delete the footage.
Yeah, maybe it was one of those situations. Maybe it was about round 7. Oh, boys, we aren't turning this ship round. So
burn the tapes.
That. Yeah, possible.
Yeah.
I mean, how awesome would that be? You don't think it's actually because they lost decent players?
Every year. This is the problem. And this is what everyone could see coming from. No one saw 4 in a row coming, I don't think. But every year they lost an incredible player who's now the backbone of another team. Stephen Crichton went to the Bulldogs. We've got James Fisher-Harris. Matt Burton also went to the Bulldogs. There's wingers that have been fucking all over the place. Jerome Luai now at the Tigers, who still suck ass. But each year they've been able to replace that player with another player who come out of nowhere and you're like, fuck, this guy's just as good. Stephen Crichton leaves, now you got Isaac Tungo. Charlie Staines leaves, now you got Taruva, now he's gone. This might be the first year where they actually haven't been able to replace any of those players. It's also exhausting. The amount of football they've played. They've won every year for the last 4 years. The year before that, they lost to the Melbourne Storm in the final. So they've played more football over the last few years than anyone. So this could be the cumulative effect of all of the wear and tear on those players. Or they might come back and fucking waste everyone for the rest of the season, you know? It could go either way. I wouldn't count them out.
Are you on the Mad Monday podcast this week?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. No doubt you'll cover the rest of the round.
I've also, for the Mad Monday podcast, this is a tease for those of you in the industry. I've gone through and had a look off the back of Dylan Walker leaving the club.
Yeah.
I've gone through and found all of the players we've let walk who are still playing right now and compiled a starting 13 of players that could be playing for the Warriors right now.
The fact that there is 13 is disturbing enough.
It's fucking 30 of them.
Oh, no.
But I've put together the best 13 that I can find, and I want to debate on Wednesday whether our current team would beat that team.
That's the compassionate 13.
Yes, the compassionate 13.
Oh, look forward to that. When's that out? Tomorrow? Wednesday.
Okay. Mad Monday out every Wednesday.
All right, let's take a break and come back with a couple of yours, please, and a preview of the golf. All right, okay. Hope you enjoyed those ads. Before we get back into things, do not forget the Export Ultra Beer Garden Tour is back for 2025. Manaia, you're heading to Texas. Being to win a 7-day trip to Austin, Texas with DB, Export and the ACC. Text Ultra to 32336 to enter. Thanks to Export Ultra, the beer for here. I believe there's also a couple of other ways to get in the draw. Just head along to acc.co.nz if you want to have a look.
Yeah,
they involve alcohol stores.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you can win somehow on the ACC as well. Be interested to see how the tariffs affect us when we go over there. Are they going to tariff us when we get there?
No, these are the things that you boys need to be across.
Yeah, am I getting tariffed, dude, on the way in there?
Jeez, clip that up and send that to DB. They'll be stoked with that one. The Masters this week. Starting Thursday?
Yeah, so I think Friday our time.
Yeah, Friday our time's the official golf is starting.
Yeah.
Ryan Fox, probably the news of the weekend. Unfortunately, not able to make it to this year's Masters.
No, he won't be there.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it is pretty gutting. The Masters is one of those bucket list events that I'd love to go to.
We were talking about this last week. She says I'd love to go to that thing.
You know, and we're talking about tariffs as well. They have frozen the prices of all of their concessions there. So an egg sandwich is the same price now as it was like 20, 30 years ago. I think it's like $2 or something.
$2 for an egg sanger.
Something like that, yeah.
I tell you who would be all over that. Keezy.
Yeah, he loves an egg sandwich.
Loves an egg sanger.
He loves an egg sandwich.
What other kind of things do they sell for food there? What are golf foods?
Well, the egg sandwich is the hallmark of the Masters and Augusta. I think golf food's widely accepted in the States that you have a hot dog at the turn.
Right,
That's generally what they get into. Here in New Zealand, you'd be lucky to get a bumper bar from the counter at the...
Bumper bars loom large.
Yeah, they do.
Over golf here in NZ, those and cookie times. It's about the only thing you can pick yourself up at the pro shop.
And maybe a Powerade.
Yep.
They'll have a banana there. A pie is just a little bit too much to walk up to the 10th tee box.
It's a gamble to play another 9 holes on a pie stomach.
Yeah, I don't mind a filled roll. I think a hallmark of golf in New Zealand is a filled roll from the bakery on the way.
Oh, have you got time? But who's got time before tea time? Let's be honest.
Well, that's why you're late for your tea time, isn't it?
Yeah, no one's ever been in New Zealand. Jeez, it's tough to get off on time here.
Because everyone's stopping at the bakery.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you leave that to sweat in the golf bag for the entire 2.5 hours that it takes you to get around the front 9. And then you basically drink it at the turn because it's turned to fucking slush. Bonus points if you leave it in your car and then fuck around going and get it at the turn and then carry on for the rest of the game. So that's sort of what we eat there. At Augusta, they do all sorts of cool stuff. Like, I think you're not allowed your phone.
Oh.
So you've just got to wander around and like be in the moment.
Well, that's nice.
It is good so you don't see people just filming every fucking thing.
I think we touched on this last week, but people also wear their golf gear like they're playing golf.
That's funny.
It always cracks me up.
That is funny.
Whenever I see that, you chuck your Under Armour polo on with your nicest pants and your golf shoes and out you go to watch some golf for the day. I don't quite understand why that is the way. Is it because you have to wear a collar anyway and golf people only own collars that are golf polos?
It's because golf people are fucking pretentious. But it's also the equivalent of wearing your team's jersey. So when you go to the Warriors game, you throw a Warriors jersey on.
Yeah,
you can't throw a Tiger Woods jersey on, so you just wear your golf shit.
You wear your red polo.
Yeah. That'd be full on. So if we look at the markets, Scotty Scheffler is a prohibitive favourite at $5. Rory McIlroy's at $7.50, and then everyone else is way higher than that.
Okay.
I was talking to George Harper Jr. last week, who follows the DP World Tour.
Jeez, high wattage. There's a name drop.
Mate, go and listen to the podcast with him. Put your steel cap boots on because he's dropping a fair few names in that one.
I bet he is.
But he said he can't see anyone other than Scotty Scheffler winning this year. He won last year, I think.
Well, is that his hot take? He can't see anyone but the favourite winning this year.
Well, yeah, but anytime you can get a favourite at $5, I think is pretty.
That's true.
It's pretty. It's pretty good eating.
So is he saying that he'd put the house on that or not?
He's saying put the house on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm regurgitating that here. But what is this podcast for if not regurgitating takes you heard elsewhere?
That's right.
Scotty Chef put the house on it. No
Sweet.
Kiwis in the field.
No.
Unfortunately.
No. Wall-to-wall Masters coverage, no doubt later in the week. We'll leave that there for now. But I believe it's time for a couple of yours pleases.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Okay, first one of the day. We've got 4 here, Manaia. Let's kick it off with this one. Yours, please.
Yeah, okay, lads. Hey, been trying to get into basketball of late, but realised the whole scoring system of basketball is fucked. The most boring play in the game is a fucking 3-point shot, and why the fuck should that be worth the most points? I'm pretty sure, like, I'm fat and 35, and I can chuck a 3-point in.
Yeah.
But I can't dunk. Dunk should be worth more. 4-point dunks. Well, fuck yeah. They'll be way better to watch.
There's something to this.
That's a fucking brilliant idea.
There's something to this.
That is genius. When he first said that, I was like, oh yeah, dunk should be worth. And then he went on to say dunk should be worth more. This is great. This is a great idea.
Well, if you come down and watch the Rim Blasters, my team play on a Wednesday night, it backs up your point here, contributor, because what you'll notice is I think 90% of the shots taken are 3-pointers.
You boys are just jacking it?
No one's taking that thing to the hole.
Nah.
Because no one can dribble it well enough or athletic enough to get anywhere near the bucket. I think, yeah, you're spot on.
I think we all agree the 3-point is worth too much. It's 50% more, which is quite a lot. I know it sounds stupid and obvious, but it is quite a lot more. And that's NBA teams have sort of solved for that problem, and so they're just shooting. I think it's like close to 50% of their shots are 3-pointers now. I think that's a great idea. Is either, why not remove the 3-point line? Nah, because you want to incentivize more dunks. So yeah, I think 4-point dunks would be fucking great. 5-point alley-oop.
Yep.
Someone else throws it to you and then you yak
See, now
it.
we're talking.
Yeah.
This is good. This is a great idea. So if you go, you got your regular just kind of mid-range, that's 2 points, that's fair.
Yeah.
Then you've got
layup's 2 points.
Yep. You keep your 3-pointer.
That's still 3 points.
And then you just give 4 for someone that can throw it down.
And yam it, brother. That's 4 points. Yeah,
Agreed.
I like it. It's just going to get really confusing to watch when you've got. This is why they haven't changed any of that stuff. It's because it's too confusing to follow. You can wrap your head around 1 point for a free throw, 2 point for a jump shot, 3 point for a 3-pointer. And it's easy enough to follow.
That's right.
But once you start getting into, now it's 4 points for a dunk, it's like, when you're playing backyard cricket and then you're like, okay, but if you hit this fence post, you're out. But if it bounces and then hits the fence post, then runs through there, that's fine. But then if it does this, then it's out. But then if it's the third Sunday after the harvest moon, you hit it left-handed, but you're actually right-handed, and you've done the dishes last night, but you didn't dry them, then you're out. You know what I mean? It gets too confusing.
Yep.
So I think that's probably why they won't do it. Fucking great idea, though.
Now you're onto something there, contributor. Okay, next one, yours, please.
G'day, fellas. Hey, just a question. It's probably easier to ask you guys than use my own Google, do your own research, all that jazz. Hey, how do you get onto like a live screening of Game of Two Halves? It'd be a good watch. 7 days or something like that. Anyway, let me know. Love you. Fuck you.
Oh, he means come along to watch it.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought he
Does
was
he?
really living in the 60s there. It was okay. So
A live screening? Well, it's on Sky Sport 1 at 8 o'clock on Thursdays, and then it's 8:30 on Sky Open, which is the one that's on Freeview,
Jeez, confusing.
right after the Red Stag Timber Hunters Club.
Oh, nice.
Best ratings they've seen in a long time.
Appointment viewing.
So that's how you watch that. And then I think they upload the last week's episode onto YouTube on the Monday. So that's how you watch it.
Yeah.
If you want to come along to a viewing, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to let you in.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, we've just got a bunch of people who work at Sky, and we basically take them hostage on their lunch break to sit through the show.
It'll be you and a couple of makeup ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whipping
And Tony
hollering.
Lyle.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. But to that, I would also say there's value in mystery. You may not want to see how the sausage is made. You know what I mean? There could be some things in there you'd be like, geez, Manaia's actually way funnier than they make him look in the edit afterwards. So it may ruin it for you. I don't know. I went along to a taping of 7 Days years ago.
Yeah, I've been to one of those before as well, and it does ruin it slightly.
A little bit, yes. A couple of things happened there. One was I worked at a media agency. We looked after their main sponsor, who at the time, I don't think we're conflicting with any of our sponsors, was Subway.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had their seats.
Pre-pedo, post-pedo?
No, peak Fogel era
Yeah.
Subway. And anyway, I was sitting in the seats, and they had obviously said, hey, the client's going to be here tonight. So halfway through, we'll stop and make a big, thank the client.
Oh, lovely.
But the client didn't show up. I had the client's ticket. So me and my missus were sitting there.
This is the most media shit I've ever heard.
And they stopped down and did this whole thing. And you could see Jeremy, what's his face?
Corbett,
who hosts the thing. He was looking at me and my missus being like, I'm pretty sure you guys don't run Subway. but he didn't want to make a dick of himself in front of the client, so they had to do this big song and dance about thanking everyone. And wouldn't you know it, they've brought catering for everyone. Here's a 6-inch sub and a cookie for everyone, and I'm sitting there waving to everyone.
Thank you.
You're right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, eat fresh, fellas.
Yeah, it's us keeping the lights on. Next one, yours, please. Oh.
Yeah, g'day, fellas. Friday, 4th of April, 6:40. Waiting for the Chiefs to munna all over the faces of the Reds. Just listening to the potty from today and talking about old Mashy, or Mr. Finn Caddie. Let's just keep it simple, fellas, and stick with the North Canterbury Mudfish. That's what he's known as. Fuck North Canterbury. Love yous. Fuck yous.
Yeah, we'll stick with the North Canterbury Mudfish.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
I mean, I don't mind that either.
I had a great idea for a podcast that I feel like this guy would be interested in, and it was...
He's got a great voice, that guy.
Yeah, he does.
Great voice.
We should get him off the first episode of this idea, but it's a drink-along podcast, so instead of a watch-along, we buy a 6-pack of beers, and we drink them while doing the podcast. You buy the same 6-pack of beers, and you drink that while you're listening to it. And so we're reviewing them. We'll still talk about the shit, but you're also reviewing. It's like, oh, it's the third one now. Yeah, see, it's tasting a little bit different. And you at home, you're drinking along with it. I think it'd be a first interactive podcast.
Love it. We have to. We are reaching out to that guy because I want to hear his voice all evening.
Yeah, more.
It's similar to the idea. I had an idea for a new podcast here on the ACC, and it was just 80s movies being reviewed over a cigarette. So we buy some darts and we just watch 80s movies around a table. We'll watch along 80s movies.
Yeah.
With the dart. Anyway, yep, no, thank you for that.
I'm into that.
I got called, someone stopped me the other day and shouted out the North Canterbury Mudfish. It's a weird thing to be hearing in public. Also, this, for the longest time, and you told me about receiving a fuck South Canterbury in public.
Yeah.
Around friends, family.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have expected it. I now have started to expect it, but it does catch the people with you off guard.
Yeah.
I was with someone over the weekend, thought that we might be about to throw some hands. The podcast, for my job. Yeah.
My missus had that for the longest time. She'd be like, the fuck did that guy just say?
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, do you know that guy? No, I don't fucking know that guy. They gotta fucking watch what they're yelling at people.
Those are gonna have a Jeff coming after you.
Yeah, we had me and my mum were walking down the street in Christchurch, and a stag do was screaming it from across the road.
Oh, how good.
My mum's also from South Canterbury, so she's like, what?
Oh, she was about to throw handbags.
She's like, how do they know where I'm from?
Right, let's wrap this one up. Last one, yours please.
Yeah, holy shitballs. 20 minutes of fucking yours pleases and a new sting. Mashy's all over it. I feel like Mashy's just getting credit for everything good around here. Motorsport,
Yeah.
new stings. Big fan of the new motorsport segment coming up. Don't fuck it up. Anyway, love you, fucking.
I think we did fuck it up today, didn't we?
No, we definitely did. Yeah, was there some insight there? I forgot that I promised a new sting for any kind of motorsport.
Did you make that? The yours please thing.
Oh, that yours please sting.
Yeah.
No, that one's been there forever. I think Joe Jury made that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm yet to bring anything to the table. I'm just trying to come in the back door and pretend that I've been here the whole time.
Keep claim it though.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Anyway, I think that's us.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Manaia.
Hey, no worries.
No doubt. I'll see you later in the week. Of course, Mad Monday out on a Tuesday/Wednesday. Wednesday now.
Obviously.
Okay, great. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow. Keep those yours pleases coming through. We need some for tomorrow. Click that microphone button on your iHeartradio app. Big shout out to Export Ultra, the beer for here. All right. See you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.